Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Yaakov Schoenbach. Thank you for the support on our first podcast. I'm here with GB Jacobson, of course.
Sir.
Yosef Roth as the producer. And I am here with a special guest, Menny Hertzel, a.k.a. Shliach of the Rebbe in Wilkes-Barre. Menny, how are you doing today?
Thank God. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank God. So, you want to dive deep in right away, or do we just...
Let's beat around the bush for a little while, you know what I mean? Okay. whatever you like.
I chill. So, basically, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in Brooklyn in Crown Heights for my entire life.
Which school did you go to?
I went to a few schools, actually. Elementary school, Alitero, and Yeshiva, Toronto, and then London, and then South Africa, actually, and now I'm here in Wilks.
Okay, before we skip to your yeshiva, tell me about your childhood. How was
My
that?
childhood? Childhood was actually very interesting. First of all, I grew up in an Orthodox family, and I'm sure this is a Jewish podcast, so you guys know everything. But yeah, it was very, very Chassidish, very religious, Lubavitch family, and yeah, also a bit Mishachis too, if you're asking.
Tell me about your first school you went to, which was
Alitera.
Alitara. Till what age were you there?
I was there till age 15.
15. Oh, posh like me. So you were there till Shir Aleph Masifta?
Yeah, including Charles Masifta, and that's
Shir,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
Then where did you go after?
Went to Toronto.
How was your experience in Toronto?
It was actually, learning-wise, my best experience, but through actual, with the kids there, and I did not like.
You didn't like
Did not work out well.
Wasn't as much as a family you felt, basically, you're saying? Or whatever the case was for you, it was just...
Our class had the least amount of achdus, the least amount of connection together. That's the truth. But learning-wise, teacher-wise, we actually had the best. I never had better. So there's good and bad in everything.
Okay. So I guess was that enough beating around the bush and we go right into it, or you want to go for longer? Right? Whatever you
Go
want.
ahead.
Okay, so you also said you were in South Africa, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so how was South Africa as a...
South Africa was actually amazing. I actually learned there a lot. More than I've ever learned in it. When I was in London for 2 years, I learned in South Africa in a half a year more than I learned for 2 years there.
Okay, you said you were in South Africa for yeshiva.
Yes.
How was that experience?
Honestly, it was amazing. I was there for just a half a year, and in that half a year, I managed to learn that more than I learned in London for 2 years, actually. Went there a lot. It was a great
Went there a
experience.
lot?
Yeah.
Was there anywhere in your yeshivas or time in life where, I'm not going to say trauma, but like a harsh moment?
Of course. There's always, first of all, every person goes through something. Not just one person went a hard case. Every person, I heard a great line. It goes like this. There could be a person drowning in the sea, in the ocean, and it could be a person drowning in a 6-inch tub. A little baby drowning. They're both drowning. Doesn't make a difference. If they're drowning, they're drowning. Doesn't make a difference. So even if it's a minor thing, sometimes if you even push away a minor thing, it still ends up coming back at you, bigger, greater, harder, harsher. Which that's a problem. Which always you have to learn to take care of even the small problems. But yes, to answer your question straight, yes, of course I went through hardships.
Wow, we got a smart, motivational man here. So tell me what happened, if you don't mind us getting into it. What scenarios or just stuff that happened throughout your yeshiva teenage years that you think have a effect that you still actually have to work through now or whatever?
So I could tell you what I have to work through right now. That's the truth. This is something that not necessarily could you get rid of. I've actually learned in Perek of Zayin Tanya, if anybody learned it, explains there how a person could be having the same struggle for 70 years. It doesn't go away. If someone, you ever heard an alcoholic saying, I've been sober for 6 years. Bro, you're 6 years, you're perfectly fine. Like, no, you're not. I'm still working on it. Why? That's why you continuously saying that I'm sober for this amount of time. So too, any problem. Now, in my scenario, there's concept that we're religious Jews and that we try refraining from talking with girls or anything that sort in order not to come to do anything worse, which is against the Torah, which is against some stuff, could even bring you to worse stuff than that. So when I was first in Shir Aleph Mesivta, sorry. No. When I was in Shir Aleph Mesivta, so that's when everybody starts discovering, oh my God, girls and everything. That's when it starts
smoking.
Coming to your
Hormones,
head.
we call them in Lubavitch.
Exactly. So So I was having a problem with then, you know, and then I had a mashpia at that moment. He convinced me, like telling me, like, bro, like, there's a concept of learning to say no. And I actually got fascinated in me that we're the only person that could decide what I actually want to do or what I don't want to do. Give you an example. It's just not just in this, it's also eating. Oh, I'm not going to eat this. Have you ever seen an animal when he sees grass? Okay, no, I'm not going to eat this piece of grass. No. Every person does have a choice to say no. If it's drugs, if it's just smoking, if it's alcohol, anything. A person could say no, has a choice to say no. And that got me so much in my mind then. I remember walking back from what he told me and it was like, I have the control to control my eyes, not to look at anything bad, not to look at it's so incredible. I remember walking down Lefferts, you know, that time of the biggest tivus in the world. Walking down there, like I'm looking straight. I'm not looking right. I'm not looking left. Straight. You know, not to bump into anything. And that's when I decided, so-called, I'm gonna go to good yeshiva, to Toronto. I was debating, should I go to Toronto or not? My uncle's there. Like, I think I wanted to go, but I'm not sure. It's very strict. I was like, no, I could decide on myself what I could do, yes or no. So that's when I decided to go to Toronto.
So you're saying it's rocky.
Yeah, then I say it wasn't that rocky. That's the truth. I was too young and too naive to really understand. When it became rocky was when it became older. Much more intelligent, understood much more. And let's go. When I was in London, for example, like when I was in Crown Heights for Tishrei, better example, when I was in Crown Heights Tishrei.
You passed Tishrei.
No, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, when I was there, I was hanging around with all my friends. And all my friends, when I was in Crown Heights, Tishrei, I was hanging out with all my friends and with the whole group. And at a certain point, that entire group, side of row, were hanging out with girls, like every single one of them. And I was like, should I go? Should I not go? Should I not go? I wasn't sure. I don't know what to do. So I was like, someone was right there with a cigarette. Like, bro, give me a cigarette. And I never had a cigarette before. I was like, so he gave me a cigarette, and I smoked it. Gave me a head rush. First five puffs gave me a head rush.
I want to hear about the coughing. How was the coughing on that cigarette?
My coughing wasn't that bad, actually. I had worse. But that concept, let's go. First of all, gave me that head rush, and when it gave me that head rush, I was like, okay, I don't need to hang out with girls now, even though I really wanted to. All my friends are there, and it's like, no, whatever. I got a head rush, and thank God that my friends went off, and I stayed behind with the head rush, sitting down there. And then later that night, I found another group of friends, and so I went to hang out with them, and every single one of them again went to hang out with girls. I was like, God, what does God want from me? So I decided, went right away. I took another 2 cigarettes, another head rush, and I was like, let them fly, and like, you know, I got my head rush, and I couldn't like focus. Them, like the first time having cigarettes, basically. And since then, I smoked a little while here and there. But after that, I remember going over, there was a little Shliach that I had. Now, this year, I'm a Shliach. But I had a Shliach, and I was like, bro, you know what I did right now. All my friends went to hang out with girls, and I didn't. And he's like, so what helped me is like cigarettes. It's like, bro, cigarettes can mess you up too. Like, what do you think is going to help you? You think it's going to help you with this? Bro, you got to do it even without. You got to learn how to do it even without cigarettes. But I was not in the mood of hearing that straight up. I was like, bro, I did something good. So, you know, it's good. Don't mix in.
Yeah, in general, you always gotta like admire, just what's the word? Just like realize, like
Good doings.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah,
That's
it's
true.
It's pretty harsh for a little 15-year-old teenager just proud of his good actions.
Put it like this: there's a concept of trueness, no matter what stage you're holding. For example, when I see Judaism, I see black and white. Am I black and white? Not at all. Is my friend black and white? Not at all. Which means every single person has their own ups and downs, as we spoke about before. But that doesn't change the fact that just because you have your ups and downs doesn't mean that this is right and this is wrong. Yes, it's still wrong to smoke cigarettes. Why? Because it's for health, bro. It's not just why are you smoking? It's not a good thing. Yes, it happens to be. I used it for a good thing, so-called. Not to do something worse, which I fully agree was the right moment for me to do, right place, right moment for me to use it. But I definitely understand him. There's a certain concept of truth, and that's what he gave me. And I actually, right now, he's actually my mashviah. And he's the one that I appreciate, actually, very much, because he's a consistent person. He sticks with the truth, and he's always there whenever I need him, whenever this. He's married, you know what I mean? And it's not like it's easy for him now. And he's still, every time I'm in Crown Heights, I still go out with him to coffee or to ice cream, we still talk. I really admire him, actually.
Hold up, you have a mashpia from when you were in Sifta? Bro,
Yes.
It's a long-lasting... You guys signing the contracts? How does this work?
No, it's different people, that's the truth. But every person could help you. You could learn something from every person. So, when I was from 8th grade till Masifta, I had this one person and he was able to help me. Now I'm looking at someone else and he's able to help me. It doesn't have to be specifically one person. It could be any person is able to help you. But obviously it's better to pick one person to stick to that you're willing to open up to. If you're able to open up to every person in the right specific thing that they could give you, honestly, do it. But I don't know if you want to open yourself up that big. I don't know any person's able to do that.
Another just side point kind of question. From what you're telling us, it seems like you grew a lot. You know.
Yes.
What would you tell yourself as a teen? Like now, as a teen?
That's a good question. Honestly, I believe in the struggles that people have to go through. I'm not wishing it on anyone else, but I definitely think that whatever I did or whatever I do is something that I needed to go through. So I needed to go through those struggles, and I thank God, so-called, I know it was hell, but I need to go through this stuff. How else am I going to grow? If I had the same mindset that I was in 8th grade when everything's all holly jolly, I'll still be an 8th grader in a 20-year-old body, and it's bad, really bad. So honestly, I every single step that I took, I needed.
Okay, it's interesting. What do you tell another bacher in the world right now in 2022, the society and everything that we live in? What would you tell them as an advice?
As an advice,
Dealing with the same.
like a kid, just starting out, a bacher, coming out of 8th grade, a nice 14-year-old little boychkele, starting to have his hormones pop. What are you going to tell him? Words of encouragement from a smart man.
that is one of the stuff. Actually, now I have a cousin that's actually just coming out right now, 8th grade, and I'm looking at him. It's like, bro, your struggles are right above you, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's hard. Every person is actually different. It's not like every person is the same. But the people that have the similar people that have similar struggles like me, I would definitely tell them, fight it, push. There's no other way to do it. There's no other way to ignore it, to lock yourself in the room. Honestly, thank God that I had a so-called kosher outlet that I was able to use. I have music. I play music. And that actually helped me a lot. Every time I was frustrated, I put it into music. And now I have a lot of songs. Now I just need someone to produce them. But I made a lot of songs. And I learned how to play guitar. And this is something that it's a good outlet to put all your emotions to. But yes, you're definitely going to have to face them. It's not like, I'm going to push it and it's going to be hard. You push it, you put a smile on your face. You got to do it.
Any producers out there that can produce for Mendy to listen to this podcast, hit him up on Instagram, bro. Get in his DMs, bro. Yeah.
I have a question. If, let's say, you're walking down Kingston, yeah? You're walking down Kingston, and look who's coming at you. You have a little Menny Hertzel. He's 15. He's just, I don't even remember, Toronto? Yeah?
Toronto.
He's coming out of Toronto. He's walking down. You bump into him. You're like, yo, no way. It's me from, in 7 years. What's up? So, what are you telling him? He tells you about your life as you at 15. He tells you, yeah, yo, honestly, what's going on, And, bro, what do you tell him? That's the question.
Honestly, me personally, I would love to give him a huge hug. I know me then I would hate hugs. I know that, but I would definitely want to give him like a huge hug, bro. Like keep it up. But then there's another concept, which not is called not mixing in. I don't know if people know this or not. Every person has their struggles, and you don't mix into other people. Like obviously, you're talking about me, but there's a certain concept I heard. If I was God, what would I do different in the world? Each person gave their own thing. What would I do different? Then there was one person, the Alter Rebbe, when they asked him this question, what would you do if you were God? He said, "No, I'll keep it the exact same thing, because if I was God, I know what I'm doing, so I'm leaving it the way it is right now." So this is like certain stuff. Like I will let him live. I will let him live, even though I definitely want to like, bro, encourage him. Like now is the hardest time, and you're gonna get over this, bro. You're gonna get over this. That's what I want to tell him.
I don't want to see that happen. I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy.
Was there anything especially like a really like highlighted that was traumatic or held you back or whatever was a struggle in school for you?
Yes, I did. Actually, it was a friend of mine when I was in Toronto. I said that our class was actually very separate. So it happens to be that there's one kid in the class. It's funny like how God chooses the one kid in the class that was like such an amazing guy that actually like put the class together. Like he passed away this past year, not when I was in Toronto, but this happened to me when I was in South Africa this year, and this boy had a car accident and he passed away, and it was like, oh my God, like him, the one person that everybody loved, him you have to take away, and it's really upsetting. But so, like I look back in a different way, and not in a bad way, but like when I look at the one person that I think actually did his mission in this world was him, straight up. This guy, he's the one straight up that taught me Game of Thrones, told me what it was about. not joking, no, like, and that guy turned into one of the most chassidic guys I've ever seen in my entire life, literally, real person. From that, like, to helping out every single kid in the class, to printed Tanyas for our class. He built a mikvah.
You were
literally
close with him yourself?
He was close with everybody. Was I his best buddies? Was I his first circle? No. Was I second circle? Probably yes.
Right, second's good.
Yeah, second's very good.
Hating on the second.
No, he's a great person, and the thing is, he was so friendly that everybody knew him, and everybody knew him. Such a nice guy, and he's a guy. I was like, God knew that he'd finish his mission in this world, and obviously it's really sad.
Finished, wow.
It's really sad, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. He was 20 years old. Yeah,
Wow.
this past year, and he's the one person that I could look up to admire, like how much he did good for every person, and it's crazy to see. Like,
that's crazy. You get it's probably a shock right when it happened. I'm saying.
I was very shocked. So it was like my sister sent me a message. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm like, what loss? Looking
really?
Until I find on COL that my friend passed away. It's like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And I was like in shock for like that whole day. And like the next day I didn't then the night after that we had a Farbringen. And I said some L'chaim, and that's the second time I got drunk. I've never gotten drunk really that I got drunk.
In your life?
And
that's crazy.
And I started crying, bro. I've never really had such a I was really crying. I really love that guy, bro.
So it was a big shook for you when it happened.
Very.
Don't mind me asking if it's not okay. I can cut it. Did you go to therapy after?
No, I didn't go.
Chill. That's your.
Not. Sometimes you gotta do your own therapy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I think a lot of stuff have to do with what's going inside, and you have to fix that by yourself. People can point it out, but the only person at the end of the day that can fix it is yourself.
Yeah.
I got a question. Once that happens to a person, yeah, I can only imagine for me. Thank God I never had the the experience. But what's next? Do you be like what even is life? He's just gone. It's like you want to call him on Friday, but he's just
you spent a lot of your life.
Can't answer. He's just
not
gonna
once
answer.
in a while, I think of that. But
That's
as the
crazy.
days go,
That could
God
happen
made
to anyone.
Every
No.
person that passes away is sad. God makes it in such a way that every person you end up getting over. That's the way God does it. It takes officially like 12 months in order to actually get over a person. So that's the way God made it, and slowly, in the beginning, it's much more traumatic and it fades off.
All right, fine. So you mentioned you make music. So
Yeah.
first of all, how did it start? And second of all, what's beauty? You said that you could take out your emotions on it.
Yeah. 100%.
What's that even mean? Is that like its own therapy and its own? Is that like therapeutic? I don't make music, me for myself, so I wouldn't know. Don't mind my ignorance.
It's not ignorance. You have a different outlet. Every person has their own so-called outlet. I would say your outlet is straight up working out. That's where you put all your energy into. Literally. Me, when I had something bad, I remember when I was in Toronto, I told you my class is terrible, and I was actually making a certain song, my own song. Writing a song. I was playing it in my room.
Hold up, when did you start?
I started in 8th grade. My brother just
Wow.
gave me a guitar. Like, I want to know how to
That
play.
is
He's like,
young.
here's chords, figure it out. That's literally what happened. And I
You
never
even
had
got
lessons.
for
Nothing.
guitar?
Nothing.
That's crazy. Got a genius amongst us.
You gotta hear
Hit him
me
up.
to know that I'm actually good. But like, yeah. So I was playing guitar, and my friend walks in, and it's Toronto, it's very such a place. And he's like, looks at me, "What's this guy's music being played?" And I got so mad at him, bro. I made this song. I was so mad. I remember, like, at that moment, I took all that anger. Literally, I remember taking all that anger that I had on that person, and I put it into a song. And every single thing, like the emotion, you hear my songs, you hear the people that were like Shliach, for example, that I let him listen to my songs, and he's like, "Bro, it sounds way depressing, way too depressing, so sad." But I think it's much better to sing about, to put it into a healthy place than to, to smoke it up on weed or smoking on this and like keep pushing it off until you end up getting addicted to it. I think it's a very healthy outlet, music.
How does that even work? You get like pissed off and then you're like, yo, I'm gonna make a song. Is that the evolution of...
It's not. Music calms me. Music calms a lot of people. That's just the way it is. So whenever I get mad, whatever, straight to my guitar. I come to my guitar, pick up, start playing, and since I never had lessons, so I never knew how to play other people's songs. So all I did was make up my own stuff. And that's how I ended up actually learning. That's how I make a lot of songs, just because of that.
Was it like straight emotion feeling, like deepness when you wrote music? I can't say all the time because it doesn't work like that for anybody. I'm saying like a lot of time was just...
Yeah.
Damn, I guess that's a wrap, guys. Thank you, Menny. This was
Thank you very much.
probably the best for bringing in bullshit.
And thank you, GB. Thank you, Yosef.
Man behind the camera. No one knows his voice yet, but one day you'll hear it. Thank you for everybody on the last podcast for listening. Hopefully, you guys, we'll get back to you for our next one. And this is Bucher's Talk.